Did we ever act up back in class? Did we ever pay a price for that?
Oh, big time.
Corporal punishment next on Men Are So Smart. Welcome to Men Are So Smart. I am Lougallagher.
I'm Corvette.Ronnie.
Nice to have you with us today. Back in the day, when a student was acting up in class, the teacher had the ability to administer some sort of physical punishment to the child if...
deemed necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, corporal punishment has been banned from most of the United States, in schools at least. But one district in Texas has decided that a good old-fashioned paddlin may instill some morals in some of their children.
Corporal punishment, as defined by the Corpus Christi Caller-Times, is a deliberate infliction of physical pain by hitting, paddling, spanking, slapping, or any other physical force used as a means of discipline. Three Rivers Independent School District in Texas had decided unanimously to bring back the paddle as a form of punishment for misbehaving students.
Now, that's not to say that the teachers will be patrolling the halls armed with a 2x4. I can picture that, though.
I like that.
Back in our day.
Yeah.
The paddling can only be doled out by a behavior coordinator.
Yeah, okay.
There's the dumbing down of
So
America
yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
Or the principal.
There you go. That's what I'm talking
Even
about.
then, parental permission will be required before justice is brought down.
Three Rivers School District Superintendent Mary Springs told the Corpus Christi Caller-Times, if the parent is not comfortable with it, that's the end of the discussion. Upon registering their child for the new school year, parents can opt in or opt out for the new punishment. Springs also said they will be tracking the number of punishments delivered in comparison to years before.
They say they'll look at how many discipline referrals were made compared to last year and how many times corporal punishment was administered. If it reduces the number of discipline referrals, then that is a good thing. According to NPR, Texas is one of 15 states that allows corporal punishment. 28 other states and Washington, D.C. prohibit corporal punishment outright, while 7 others do not expressly permit or prohibit it.
I don't even think it had a name when we were in school, but it happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I distinctly remember 4th grade and 5th grade teachers, both men. In fact, they may have been my first male teachers. Thinking back, it was. Both were my first male teachers. If you were messing up, joking around in class, you know, as they're walking up and down the aisles, would grab a handful of hair and move your head all which ways, kind of violently, to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then there was also one you were talking about before.
I had a substitute teacher. I believe her name was Mrs. Doherty. My buddy Fassler and I, sometimes if we had the same teacher, we would act up, act a fool. And I remember distinctly one time we were screwing off and she snuck up behind me. I had my hand on the desk. She took one of those pointers that they used in geography for pointing at the maps on the wall
That
for
thing's like
state capitals.
3 feet, 4 feet long.
It's like a pool cue.
Yeah.
She broke that over my hand on the desk. Is that a little too far?
That might be pushing the envelope.
Hello?
Yeah.
I don't think I went to the doctor. I don't think I even told my parents because I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I remember there were just a couple of kids that were in my classes in 4th and 5th grade that were just a bit unruly, and you know, they would get it a little more frequently, but there was less and less and less screwing off because you knew what punishment was coming.
Oh, I distinctly remember kids being hauled off to the principal's office where he had himself a paddle. He'd bend you right over his knee and paddle your backside to the point where I'm sure you didn't feel like sitting down. I never took it that far. I was I'm maybe a little bit more sly than some of those people. You know, you wait till the teacher's back is turned before you shoot the spit wads.
Yeah, you were a smart screw off.
I was a little sneaky. I'm still sneaky.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, things are different now. The story says that the parents have to give permission. I was watching an episode of Last Man Standing recently with Tim Allen, and the topic of spanking came up, and the older daughter and her baby daddy had never spanked their son before, and Grandpa did one day, and they flew off the handle. They literally were. Why would you do that? Why would you ever hit another child when you're not a parent, even if you are a grandparent? And they made such a big deal out of it. I got to tell you, if it's not meant in a violent, what's the word I'm looking for?
Can't be vindictive.
True.
It has to be. It's just a form. It's a lesson.
It's a swat on the butt.
It's a swat on the butt, and it's a lesson, and it's not. There's no psychological repercussions from it. That's kind of how you train dogs. Also, is if they're not doing what you want them to do, you give them a little swat on the butt. It's nothing that's gonna, inflict physical pain or much physical pain, but it's like, okay, if when this happens, that happens.
Yeah, they gotta know.
Yeah, and so I know I spanked both my kids growing up, not very often. I want to say maybe once or twice each. That behavior never happened again. Mm-hmm. So, and we were both, I'm sure, I know I was spanked growing up by my mom, and you learn that, hey, this is acceptable, that's unacceptable, and I'm not going to do that again.
Boundaries.
Yeah, you learn boundaries.
It seems that today's kids don't have them.
I don't think they don't even know what the word means.
They're just looking at their phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when their friends are visiting them.
Maybe that's what the world needs again, is a little bit more, corporal punishment, even if it's not inflicted by the school, at least by the parents. And now you can spank your children, but you better not use a belt or any object or spank them so hard that it leaves a mark. That's going to get you in trouble.
CPS.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you. My mom used, that paddle that had a rubber ball and a string?
Yeah.
That's what my mom used. It was pretty effective in that it made a loud cracking noise, mm-hmm. but it didn't really, because of the size of it, it moved a lot of air and it made a loud spank. There wasn't a lot of pain involved.
What if the ball hit you?
She took the ball off.
Oh, she did.
She would take the ball off.
Because that would have been a sight to see.
Yeah. Which kind of ruined it too, and you got to find a stapler and staple the string back on.
That never works.
Yeah.
It's never the same.
Yeah, so, but I think it was as much psychological because of the sound, the large cracking sound, more over the pain. And I think we pretty much turned out okay.
I'll be honest with you. In terms of spankings, my mom gave me the worst spanking I ever had in my whole life.
Yeah.
Not my dad.
Yep.
It was my mom. And, when those times came, and they did at home, there was a belt involved.
Yeah.
And that was the phrase, do you want me to get the belt?
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't. With the amount of time that we have left, I remember one Christmas that my cousins were over on a Christmas Eve. And we were, of the age of around 13 or 14 and maybe a little bit older. Well, we decided to go out one night and steal some light bulbs off of houses. And we did that because they would bust in the street and make a pretty good sound if it was a good size, full size bulb. And I can tell you that night we got caught. And the people that caught us in their yard took us back to my house where the families were and explained what had taken place. And I can tell you that I felt so awful knowing what was coming. And this was on a Christmas Eve.
The anticipation of the event is almost worse than the event.
Well, you know what? My parents saw how stressed out I was and how guilty I was and how bad I felt, and they let me off the hook.
Wow.
But I never, ever did anything like that again.
No.
So it was kind of like a trade-off. I
Yes.
appreciate not getting the belt.
Yeah.
Because I know I got it coming. I know this is a big enough deal. All right, that wraps up another edition of Men Are So Smart. Corporal punishment.
Yay or nay?
Yep. You can feedback. We'd love it. You can leave a comment below. We'd appreciate it if you like our video. If you enjoyed it, we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. Anywhere you'd like to connect with us, you can. Our email addresses are below. You can find our links to our Facebook page, our blogs, etc. Thanks to our sponsor, Trico Welding Supplies, and also Capital Mobile Break. We appreciate what you do for us. I am Lougallagher,
I am Corvette.ronnie.
and that wraps up another edition of Men Are So Smart. See you next time.
Bye-bye.